and welcome back to It Happened Again, right? It happened again, and again, once again, I want to be absolutely clear on this because I feel like I'm saying this an awful lot and it makes me nervous. I mean, you can see from the video how it happened. It wasn't what I wanted to happen, but it is what happened, unfortunately. But let's start the day. So I wanted to start the day with slowly, sort of methodically moving my way through the lower city. Every building is a story. Everything needs to be investigated. And the decision I made to break into every building, even if I could get in, fine. But if I couldn't, we're breaking in. Totally pays off in every single way in the lower city. I fully recommend it. I don't know if some other thing is supposed to happen that allows you to access most of the buildings without breaking in. But in my eyes, it was worth it. And so I started my day by breaking into Alexander's home, which I did after building a little tower of boxes and jumping into his backyard so nobody would see me and breaking in. And he's dead. Not by me, not by my hand, but I did find a rat, of course, a filthy little rat that had eaten his corpse. Another one on my murder list that is dead as I slowly make my way to try and save as many people as possible because I'm a good person. I'm a really, really good person, and I'm genuinely trying to be a good person and make things happen. I'm trying. After that was dealt with, I was like, what is the next building? I actually bumped into the wife and husband that I'd met in the Underdog. I don't think I brought these up in the TDP, but they're characters that are in the mushroom world, in the mushroom town, and they're horrible people. They're absolutely awful people. The husband is a wife abuser, but he's hurt his head or got ill. He's actually ill, which has made him forgetful, placid, and compliant and doddering, although he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know where he is. And his wife much prefers that. And you find out very clearly the wife has received the cure for his illness, and it's really simple, and they have it, and she won't give it to him because he's going to start abusing her again. And I robbed these people. If they're horrible people, I'm taking. I found a safe key for the bank. I assume there's a bank somewhere in Baldur's Gate, and I have a safety deposit box key. So I was really on the fence about whether or not I was going to do this, but it made sense, right? It made sense. These guys are jerks. I wish nothing but the worst for them, and the fact that I haven't pulled my axe on them so far is crazy. So I took that, and I haven't found the bank yet, so that's something that I've stuck in my repertoire, but screw those people. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst. The next place I went to, though, was the Blushing Mermaid, or whatever it's called. It's one of the more, it's like the dockside inn, where we've had tons of reports that the hag is there. And I was like, cool, we're going to fight a hag again. This is going to be awesome, and we're going to rescue the little girl. We've made the Hag's Bane potion, which causes the witch to regurgitate the child. It's going to be sick. So I was mooching around in there, and everybody is super, super drunk, like way more drunk than they should be, which made me think this is the hag's influence, so we're in the right place. And found a sneaky place to go downstairs with a hidden wall leading to a hag-style area like we'd fought before. Turns out it's like the same hag. It's the same one, Auntie Ethel. That we'd fought in the past. I was like, oh, cool. So there's a weird layout to this building, though, because I could see all the mad people that are wearing her mask on one side of the room, but there was also another way to go with a lot of traps in it. So I was like, I'll just ignore them for now and fight them later and go into here, where I found a mushroom on the side of a wall. And then by examining it, I saw that this mushroom actually that means that Ethel can't die while these mushrooms exist. I was like, oh, cool. So we've got to do like a stealth mission where we'll sneak around and avoid the enemies and take down these mushrooms so we can actually fight the hag and engage with her. And as soon as I shot it, the cutscene and sequence break of whatever it was I was doing, the game didn't like it. The game didn't like it. Clearly you were supposed to engage the hag before this point. And so it kind of warped my characters to somewhere else where the hag was, where the hag gave me a load of abuse and she's bragging about being pregnant and she's going to have a young hag to train and all that. And then when the cutscene ended, I wasn't in combat. I was still just stood over on my own. Again, a little bit of more bugs in Act 2 and 3 making their face appeared. Their presence felt. So I actually had to go back into the room and kind of find the hag to engage in combat because the battle was supposed to be taking place, but I wasn't there. Then, even though the cutscene had moved me to where she's supposed to be, she wasn't there. But I got into combat with the hag. One thing I noticed pretty quickly after I'd killed a couple of people was that they were under the hag's influence. And it says like while the hag lives, these guys are mind controlled and fighting you. So I was like, oh, cool. So we can actually save a bunch of people here. This is awesome. So good. So I like held person on one, CC'd them, and had my characters move around and start killing the remaining 2 mushrooms so you can actually start fighting the hag. Sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Well, once I dealt with that and the remaining living people were dealt with, it was time to move on to the hag. So I started to get into position so that I could get the child out of her stomach. And, well, this is what happened. And this is exactly what happened. And you can see it happening. She then, once the, like, mushrooms are dead, she starts going invisible every turn. I have an eye, a fake eye, that allows me to see invisibility. But she save rolled it every single time, despite the fact that I could clearly see where she was from her dialogue box. So I tried AoEing, I tried multiple characters going near it, but it just wouldn't reveal her. So I eventually ran around in circles to try and find her, because it looked like she'd moved around. Got her out, but I tried to then throw the potion at her. But it turns out, unlike drinking healing potions, which you can do from anybody's inventory, you can't throw something from somebody else's inventory. And literally, some of you will go, well, duh, but this is the first time I've encountered that. Up until this point, I've been able to use other people's inventories just fine. Like scrolls and things like that, it's fine. Not this time, though. I was like, right, well, the Hag's Bane is on my Barbarian. I need to wait for the turn to come round. And every time that happened, she went invisible again. And I couldn't find her. And I don't have, like, an AoE that I could use on my Barbarian. And if I did that, I would also use my action and blah, blah, blah. So, at the same time I had my turn, I had Asterian's turn. So I thought, I know where she is. I clearly can see where she is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little acid arrow out that I've used 1,000,000 times and barely does any damage, right? I've used it and it's done like 20 damage or whatever, and she has like 70 health left. This is no problem. And shot the acid arrow where she was. Not only did this arrow crit higher, kind of like what happened to Isabel, it crit higher than I've ever seen that spell crit in history. It killed her flat out. And then, in a blur, because it shouldn't have happened, a cutscene plays where she's regurgitating the girl. And people, I want to say this, as everybody judges me after this happened, right? After this happened, everybody at the time who was watching this went, oh, I didn't realize you could also get the kid out by hitting her with acid. That's kind of cool. Like, while the cutscene played, the kid was dead. Like, I want to be absolutely fundamentally clear on this. I did not burn that girl in acid. The hag's at fault for eating the kid in the first place, right? I did not burn that kid in acid. That's not what happened, okay? I was just revealing the hag. It was invisible. But the kid's dead, unfortunately. And, well, people were really happy. Like, the Hag Defense League, or whatever they're called, they were super happy with what I did. They were really happy that the hag was dead. I did go and see, I think she's called Venna. I did go and see Laura, her mother, to tell her the news, and well, I chased her through the streets. I was trying to console her, but I don't know where she's gone.
Tell me that hag didn't hurt my baby. Please. No. She can't be dead. She can't be. How? Vanra! Vanra!
Pretty bad. It is what it is. Like, I'm not... I said this while I was playing. I was like, dudes... Sometimes the no reload restriction is really harsh, and this is one of those moments. But of course, they all had fun with it and spammed me with endlessly about my child murderer. But either way, I'm sure that just got us demonetized on YouTube. There it is. I then went and investigated more of the lower city. I ended up in the graveyard, which was pretty cool. Lots of mausoleums to explore. A girl trying to resurrect her brother with necromancy. Finding some treasure, a hound, like the ghosts of a guy and his dogs was in there. Nothing mega going on, like little bits of clues. The most interesting thing is actually nearby is the tombstone shop. We know that something's going on with Orin the Red and the Baal cultists in the tombstone shop of the city. I found it, but I need a password of some description to get through to it. So I had no idea how that story is going to play out, and I'm really intrigued because it's kind of the first time the game has physically blocked me progressing. It's actually just flat out like, you can't go here yet. Usually I have the choice. It'll warn me if it's bad news bears or whatever, but this time it's like, nope, you can't go there. You don't have this information. You can't bypass it. You can't use arcane lock on it. You can't pick lock it. You can't smash it. You can't do anything to get past this barrier. So whether that leads to an endgame thing or something, or maybe it's just it's a strange one to be completely blocked from progressing in the game, whichever way you want to do. And on that note, the next building I walked into was concerning Raphael and the demons, and meeting the Diabolist, Helsik, I think she's called, who sells and deals in demonic artifacts. And through the persuasion rolls and things like that, I found out that she could open a portal to hell for me to go and steal the hammer, which we may or may not want to use to free Orpheus, who's holding back the tide of the Mother Brain. This was really cool, except for Helsik herself. Helsik forced me to pay her 101 gold for her information. I'm getting that gold back. That's all I'm going to say, man. I am getting that gold back. I did try and pickpocket her, but I could only pickpocket like over 2,000. I don't want that. I'm not a thief. I just want my gold back because you're manipulative and bribing me, or you're asking for cash in hand for information. That's not going to stand with me at all. I will get that gold back. But needless to say, again, distractions of Baldur's Gate and how amazing this game is. It's like, oh, I'm going to check out the shop. Now I'm going to hell. This is possibly the most intriguing storyline so far in Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think that's an underestimation to say. Like, the storyline I'm on board with. It's cool. It's interesting. But I haven't had anything, and I said this the other day, is I haven't had anything as much as the shadowed man from Divinity happened to me yet in Baldur's Gate. All the stories have been really top tier, like high A's, A pluses. I haven't yet had the S tier, but of course, a lot of the storylines haven't concluded yet, so that's not to say we won't. This one has me really intrigued because you travel to hell and you meet Hope. And that's, at first I thought that was just the name of the character, but no, this is apparently the embodiment of Hope. Although her sister's there, who doesn't appear to be the embodiment of any sort of emotion. Maybe I can help free you.
The figure shimmers brightly. Your words seem to have piqued her curiosity.
I hope so. But it is a faint.
All right, team.
Just like me.
It's time to fuck up hell.
Leave. I could only suffer.
I'm the best man for the job.
I'm supposed to do that in silence. Everyone here hates me for what I am.
Oh, sure.
And the thing that kills you, and the only reason you're alive. Made by a promise, and done by the truth. A handshake, a hug, the first beat of a newborn's heart.
I
am Hope. What little is left of her. A guttering candle.
You're literally Hope. It's not just your name. But Hope is actually Hope. And Raphael has kept her tormented and in horrible ways, actually. You get to read the diaries of the things she did to her, like trapping her in a room with children's nightmares over and over again, which obviously kills Hope. Nightmares are the antithesis of hope, essentially. And started wandering around to find all these eternally doomed people and their weird things that they've been eternally doomed to do, be that either to be trying to strive for perfection and being unable to do it, or to be a voyeur, to have to be forced to watch for eternity of Raphael's sexual and torturous escapades, essentially, in his bedroom. All these kind of things. And of course, ultimately meeting the Archivist, who I managed to convince I was actually this gargantuan mega demon that takes on the form of someone vile and disgusting, which is my character, upon visiting, because I'd be too chungus to fit into the building otherwise. That worked out kind of well. There's some really nice loot in here that I did a little science here. I am working on what the stealth aspects of D&D are within Baldur's Gate. I'm getting better at it. There's a lot of rules I don't know, like, do I move further away after I've stolen something? I successfully steal something, but I kind of hang around to see if something's going to happen, and eventually I get caught, even though I haven't done anything technically, but I'm so close to the crime scene that it kind of accuses me, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to come back and mess around with that a little bit more. Okay, so by convincing the Archivist of who I was, he gave me the invitation to go into Raphael's bedroom. I didn't think this was going to play out as it did. On the bed is Haralp, or whatever it's called, but it's a spitting image of Raphael, and of course the name is an anagram of Raphael. And the bargaining chip was, like, he's supposed to be like some sort of succubus sexual beast, and you find out that Raphael basically has sex with himself. That's why he created Haralp, or whatever he's called, because there's nobody prettier, nobody better than him, so he just has sex with himself. Hilarious. And then it gets down to him trying to manipulate you. And he says, let's play a game. Now, out of curiosity, I was like, yeah, let's play a game. Like, a deal with the devil. And my dumb brain kind of pictured Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey playing a game against death. And the game got sexy. So it's like, okay, so let's take off your clothes to play this game. I'm like, all right, you're playing daredevils. That's fine. I took off my clothes. Immediately, Karlak, who I've romanced, like, disapproves. Like, whoa, no. That body's mine, baby. What are you doing? I was like, let's see how this goes. And the next dialogue options made me second guess myself. I was like, if this is actually me having sex with Raphael, I really don't want that. That's not my intention. My intention here is that we're going to play a game and maybe assassinate him in bed or manipulate him in some way and try and one-up the devil in a sense. But it definitely started getting sexier and sexier. I got one check that I could do, which was pretend to be laying in bed and then get ready to fight back. And it was a super hard roll because I'd removed my armor because that's the nature of what we were doing, and I was butt naked. I had lost all my strength bonuses, and I was now massively encumbered and could not possibly roll the dice. I used all my inspiration and thank God got the roll to be able to do this. But what it left me with was me surprising Raphael, to get the advantage, but being completely naked and without a weapon to actually do anything with. This didn't end too badly, though. The fight wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, thanks to a nice stealthy opener from Asterion and some blasting from everybody else. We took 90% of the boss's HP away in the first turn, and then just had to deal with his ads while polishing him off. But all those ads were really bad. Eldritch blasting everybody all over the place was a big deal. But I was so close to thinking this, like, we're just going to knife him in the throat, you know, something like that, which kind of technically we did, I suppose. It just was not playing out as I thought he was going to like it. I actually genuinely felt bad about annoying Karlak with this. It's so stupid. After defeating him, not a brilliant fight. You know, we did like most of the damage straight away. And I have to assume, because it gives you a fountain of regeneration to regen all your spells and health, is that we've probably got the Raphael fight coming. So I came out of that room with the keyword to steal the big hammer, which will break the chains and hopefully free Hope, because I really want to free Hope. Hope is a wonderfully voice-acted character, really interesting. Her backstory is one of the darkest I've seen in Baldur's Gate 3 so far. This story has me really very interested, and that's where I'm going to leave you today, because that's where I got up to. That is where I'm up to. And my next stage, my first thing we're going to do is steal the hammer and see if we can free Hope and free Raphael. And hopefully not, you know, put any more kids in the graveyard. I will point out, after I had the incident with the little girl, is the next two areas I went to were talking about dead children. And it was like the game was just openly mocking me. I was at the morgue and the graveyard, and every story was about death. And today was difficult, but then again, what day hasn't been lately? Child this time.
What is that noise? Have people no respect for the dead?
It was a child this time. She was young and beautiful. Her face peaceful despite the brutality of her death. Her prayers only coppers, but I wave my fee. I know I shouldn't.